we only make comics that people are really passionate about, so like the monsters are there because people are really passionate about the monsters.
Sure.
And I think if you had creators who were really passionate about Abbott and Costello meeting whoever, and there was a possibility of those rights, that's the only time it would happen. You need to have someone really passionate. Skybound's not a company that wants to do comics that are just
to do it.
Just to do it, right?
In the Midwest, the best is there waiting. So come and join the conversation. Highs to approved, fan and artist and creator too. This is how the challengers do. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with
Patrick Brower.
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 Challengers Comics in Chicago. It's Chris Jericho here. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and congratulations on all your success. Hopefully next time I'm in Chicago, I will come by and visit Challengers Comics. Take care, guys. Merry Christmas.
That's right. This episode of Contest of Challengers has a very, very special guest. It's not Chris Jericho. It's ARUNE Singh making his return to the podcast. Happy holidays, ARUNE.
Happy American Christmas to everybody. Yeah, my countryman, Chris Jericho, couldn't be here today, and he says, who's the biggest jobber we can send? That's Patrick Brower.
As I hit that Chris Jericho sound effect, I noticed that there was literally no movement in the soundbar on the interface I'm using, and it makes me wonder if that stuff doesn't record. And now I'm thinking back to the last time I used it, and I'm like, oh, I think I had to go drop it back in by hand manually each time I used it. So, yeah, we'll sort that in the dub.
Life's about the journey, buddy, right?
That's
that's not the destination.
I did not do any research for this, ARUNE, so I do not know how long it's been since you've been on this podcast, but I want to say it's at least 3 years.
That's absolutely. It was definitely not 2024. So yeah,
it was.
Definitely.
You know what? It was right before you officially announced going to Skybound.
So that's 2020 then. Yeah, it's been longer than because I've joined in 21. So yeah, I was talking to my boss, the wonderful Sean Makowitz, the Eisner-nominated writer of Gasolina, available now also as an Audible audio narrative.
Oh, wow.
Journey. So yeah, but Gasolina, which he wrote. I was talking to him and I couldn't believe I'm entering year 6 at.
Yeah, I saw you posted about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's great though.
Yes, absolutely. I will say this, and I think Patrick, you know me well enough to say I wouldn't just say this to try to get kudos from everybody. I work with the most awesome team in comics at Skybound and editorial. I honestly adore every single person in that team, even Blake Kabashagawa, who is the worst but is the best.
I've heard that. Not only have I heard that from other people, I've seen that written on bathroom walls.
Honestly, that was me.
Nice.
I take it back to the beginning. I did it for The Rock, but it was. I will say this about Blake, and we describe our friendship this way: is that I tell everybody else, no one else can be mean to him. He and I will take the bullet for each other unless we're the ones pulling the trigger, and that's how we work together. So he's great. I think for any retailers who are listening to this, they've worked with him on the retailer exclusives for sure, which is why you see so many of them out there on the Battle Beast, Invincible books, and like Energon Universe things. So shout out to Blake. I can't believe that's my first shout out. I feel gross now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to switch it to a different shout out because this upcoming week, so we're recording on a Monday. This is going to go up this weekend. So this, I guess, previous Wednesday, a book came out that both you and I are in. You and I share credits and quotes, I guess, in Wrestle Heist #1 from Image that comes out this week. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're both going to be in every issue.
I am very excited. Yeah, Kyle Starks, who I also play Fortnite with sometimes, which feels cool to say.
Oh, nice.
Writer of many awesome books at Skybound. So I'll say in particular, I think I Hate This Place is just incredible stuff. But if you're a DC fan, you have not read his Peacemaker book, also just unreal good. What was it? Peacemaker Tries Too Hard.
Oh, yeah.
there's a whole Bruce Wayne gag with Amanda Waller in the first issue that I'll just say only Kyle Starks could pull it off. And so if James Gunn ever did like Peacemaker shorts, and no spoilers for the last season of Peacemaker, I know why that might be tough. I would love this story of Peacemaker tries to, or at least the Bruce Wayne moment on camera, brought to life, and then for Kyle to get all of the money. But yeah, Kyle hit me up with questions. We love to talk wrestling, have very divergent points of view on wrestling. I think Finn Balor is a point of differentiation between us. My incredible love for him, and I think he is less effusive. Not that he thinks he's bad. I just can't remember if Kyle was there for like the
Bullet Club years. I don't think so.
But not Bullet Club, but even like some of the early NXT stuff where it's like,
yeah.
I just think that, the days of Hideo Itami. I think that is, I'm not sure if he was there for that. I feel like I have a connection to Finn Balor over his character, I should say, because of that.
Arun, I bought a Hideo Itami action figure.
Do you still have it?
I don't. I got rid of all of, mainly because it was the lesser level of figure.
Oh,
the
yeah,
one that just like with the poor articulation.
Yeah.
And I got it because I'm like, oh my God, I want a Kenta figure. But then after a while, I get rid of all those poorly articulated figures.
When you buy those figures, like, does Dal have a guide for you on how many like ball joints there should be in a figure before you buy it? And if you don't listen to him, he's disappointed. Like, I feel like Dal feels like the guy who would have rules about ball joints and action.
Well, I mean, obviously, most of the figures that Dal gets have way more ball joints than mine do because his are a lot of Bandai merchandise, and those things are incredibly posable. I myself am happy that Marvel Legends has been adding the web swinging flexible pecs to all their figures, not just Spider-Man and Wolverine. Like Captain America now has it for shield slinging and whatnot to really get, so you can get the arms crossed in front of a face kind of a thing.
Yeah, I want to say shout out Marvel Legends. I want to shout out BMAC. If you watch any of the streams of Hasbro, you know him. He's a really good dude we get to work with over there. We were just talking the other day about how like it is incredible how Marvel Legends have evolved. Sculpting was always great, but like not just the maximum, whatever they call it, like that Spidey that came out, that's maximum posability, but just I pick up some of like these standard figures. I picked up a Cable figure. It's a yellow and blue costume, almost like his Marvel Capcom costume.
Yeah,
and it's just like the posability you can do with these, the angles, the detail. Don't get me wrong, the Bandai ones, the SH Figuarts, however you say them, or like the Math,
that's exactly right.
Ones. Yeah, like I have those, and those are really cool. But those are $120 cool.
Yeah.
So I want to spend $25 on a figure, 30, stupid tariffs, and I want to get
$35 at challenges because discount is so terrible.
I should pre-order from you guys to support you. I failed you. I'm sorry, but it's.
You could never.
If you start selling sponsorships for the shelf with the poorly articulated, less ball joint figures, I'll buy that sponsorship. That's the one I want to buy.
Got it. We'll try to do an action figure section one. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I just picked up speaking of Marvel Capcom, my buddy Luke and I split the Venom Captain America 2-pack because he wanted the camp. And this is the best Captain America figure that they've ever done. I literally have it in my hands right now because it sits on my desk because it's so good. And it has the burst effect around the shield.
Yeah.
But it's got the arms you can pull in all the way in front of his. God, it's a good figure. And I was very happy that, because I didn't want the Venom, and then I didn't have to buy both.
I got to know, Patrick, Marvel Capcom 2, who are your three? Who are the three characters in your roster?
Oh, man. So we actually have one of the 3/4 scale cabinets.
Yeah.
But, God, I always Cap, usually Spidey, and often Wolverine.
Okay, so everyone listening to this will respect me even less after first shutting out Blake, so I've lost all your respect. I go Iron Man, War Machine, and Cable, just for overloading projectile attacks. You might think you can duck, but Cable's energy gun will knock you up from a ducking position into like the crazy missile attacks. Because really, I'm just playing with two of the same characters with Iron Man and War Machine.
Yeah, but I've never played with Cable.
Yeah, he is. you have to understand, I come from if it's more effort than a Hadoken, I'm probably not going to be good with this character school of playing fighting games.
That's exactly how I play. I'm a button masher for sure.
Yeah. So it's like, if I have to, it's like even using Guile in that game, I'm like, this is starting to feel Mortal Kombat-y, going back and forth with to throw the whatever is Sonic Boom. So I'm like, no, those are my three. So I recently bought, Kith did a collaboration with Marvel, and I bought the Ryu shoes from Marvel from ASICS, the collab they did, and I bought one of the T-shirts that's Wolverine versus Ryu on the front, because Marvel Capcom 2 is my holy grail of video games, like the best game I think of all time.
That's fair. You don't use those shoes to work out in, do you?
No, I don't. They're
too nice for that.
They're too nice for it. I use them. I've worn them a few times, and I have to kind of get over the fact that they're shoes and they're going to get wrecked. But like they're made out of this material that feels like, it feels like a gi in martial arts. So it's just the attention to detail is incredible. But I have to get more comfortable trashing my shoes. The same way that I think we all need to get comfortable like rolling up our comics a bit sometimes and like stretching out a collection to like see the details. Things cost so much, and we understandably get so precious about it. But like, I just want to get back to kind of like, not being disrespectful of the money I spent, but being okay, like just tossing a comic, literally tossing it into my backpack, being okay with some beat up edges. And then when I'm done with it, just giving it to someone else who might enjoy it. Like there's something fun about passing along the love of comics, but I think we've become really precious with it, just like our shoes.
There really is. And do you have little libraries in your town or your community?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
We've got them all around Chicago, and I've always wanted one right in front of Challengers.
Oh, yeah.
But we can't do that because you need permits, and technically, like it's all concrete in front, but there's a couple of trees in little square sections of concrete that were removed, but they put these big metal gratings over them. So, you can water them, but you can't really get to the dirt. But somebody years ago broke the one that's right outside our front door, and it's never been fixed. So I'm like, put one in there. And I actually reached out to the little library people, but they do everything by the books. So they won't put one there because they're not allowed to.
Yeah.
And so I looked into, well, what can I just get one? And they're very expensive if you get like a actually pre-built, ready to bury little library. And then I thought, well, can I make one? But I know that whatever I would make would not be weather resistant. And also, like, I am worried about stuff being vandalized like that. But we do, thanks to the fact that any graphic novel or comic we get from PRH that's damaged, they don't want back. They're like, just get rid of it or donate it. I'm like, all right. Great. So we just go around to little libraries and dump stuff off all the time.
Great.
And then we have this morbid fascination with going back the next day to seeing if they're still there. And they're always gone immediately.
You just made me think about something, because I want to first say I love the sense of charity, like the sense of community you and Dale have is one of the reasons I love your store so much. And before we point out that last time I was in Chicago, I didn't come over. Let's just forget that fact for a sec. I was stuck at the convention center.
Hey, we didn't go see you either, so it's
you know what? Yeah, Molly Jane did. I was the only one who cared enough. So did you read about that story in California where someone broke into a card store, stole $30,000 worth of Pokemon cards they dug under? So I got to ask you, if you were worried about someone digging under to get to your store from a business next door, which business do you think is most likely for the hole to start in?
Well, it would have to be the barbershop, but I think that they would be doing it because next to them is a ATM kiosks. It's a Bank of America, and it's a well-furnished lobby, and it's got like 3 ATMs inside of it. That's all it is. So I think they'd be tunneling to there, but accidentally start digging in the wrong direction.
So they're like Christopher Columbus it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they come up to the end of our store. It's funny we're talking about this because just the other night.
Oh no!
Was it Sunday morning? Was it Sunday morning? It was like within the last 2 days at like 6 a.m. I'm not out of bed. I get awakened by my phone ringing, and I look at it and it says spam call. So I don't answer it because I've got a built-in, Verizon has a spam detector. Wasn't a spam call. It was the alarm company calling to say that the alarm is going off at the store, which happens on occasion. We've got window sensors, and window sensors are only supposed to go off if glass shatters, but they go off a lot. Whether like a car backfires out front or somebody walks by and slaps the glass or something. So whenever the alarm company calls and I answer it, they're like, hey, the alarm's going off. Do we send the police? I'm like, give me a second. So let me pull up the system so I can check the cameras and the audio to see what's happening at all the windows. And almost every time it's nothing. But this time they leave a message saying, hey, it's a motion detector alarm from the center sensor. I'm like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
But I log in, nothing. And for a motion sensor to go off, somebody's got to get in. All the doors have sensors, all the windows have sensors. Like, how could somebody get in and make a motion sensor go off? So I'm thinking, did something fall? Did something fall off a shelf? Did years ago when we had the second store in River North, we had a giant 8-foot by 2-foot banner out front that was our signage, a vinyl banner, Scotty Young Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Actually, it was penciled by Scotty Young, but inked and colored by me. But anyway, so I adhered that to the ceiling inside red years ago. And I think like one day it's going to fall down. I just use that thick double-sided tape. Like one day that's going to fall. So I'm like, did that fall? Nothing had happened to set off this sensor. So I didn't call them back because I'd missed the call. I'm like, it's too late. They sent the police and nothing I can do. But I stayed on the camera for 40 minutes to see if police showed up. Police never showed up. So I logged off and went back to bed because I was getting up at 6:45 in the morning. I'm not like you. I'm not working out all the time. You and The Rock in the gym at 4 a.m.
You know what? We got to do what we got to do.
Yeah. I work out at night and then I go to bed, which is stupid. But anyway, so when they couldn't get a hold of me, they called Dal. They couldn't get Dal either. Then Molly is the third call, and they couldn't get Molly either. Fine. But I mean, I just never called them back because why would I? It was too late. They're going to send the police anyway, whatever. So when Dal woke up and he got the call, he did the same thing. He logged in and he called the alarm company and said, nothing is wrong. And they said, well, it's probably rats. It's always rats. And I thought, no, sir, we don't have rats. Thank you. We definitely don't have rats or frogs or, I don't know, locusts. No vermin of any kind. But I just love their go-to is like, oh, it's usually rats. No worries. Okay.
Yeah, that at the perils of owning, owning a retail store, not for the faint of heart. Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I can never silence my phone to put it on like I'm like turning off and going to bed. Like, nope. For the longest time it was I had to have my phone on in case I had a parent emergency.
Yep.
Now they're gone. Now it's like it's the store.
Oh.
But anyway, the mystery was never solved. Nothing was wrong. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
No one broke in. Nothing was taken.
Solved.
Just the motion detector went off. So obviously, ghosts. Or
it's
one
the only explanation we all have.
Yeah.
Or it's the hooded man from Survivor Series War Game who also broke into your store and disappeared into the night.
You know who I can guarantee is not the hidden man?
Yeah.
It's not Chris Jericho. And again, I hit that sound effect knowing it probably won't work, but I still hit it.
We all paused long enough for you to insert and feel like it was totally natural. Nothing went wrong. I heard it, so I know what happened.
That's right. At least I did it for you, Arun. I did it for you. There was, of course, rumors that it's Chris Jericho. I don't think it's Jericho.
I think it could definitely be. I love the fact that they're changing the person under the hoodie every time. And my personal thing is I almost want it to be like a heavier set wrestler like Kevin Owens, so people can be like, but they look slimmer. He could just be like, I was sucking it in the whole time.
There's no way Rikishi was driving the car.
Yeah, I just like. Can I tell you my craziest idea for wrestling fans? Is I want it to be. And by the way, shout out to Renee Paquette. I'm sorry if this is disrespectful. I want it to be Austin Theory under the hood, but Austin Theory, it goes by the name Dean Ambrose now. So that everybody's guessed if it being like, remember fake Razor and fake Diesel?
Yes.
And he's just like, I'm Dean Ambrose. And depending on how far WWE wants to go, like re-edit old footage, or he plays editing old footage with his face on, like, Eventually, the Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns part of it will tell you how much of a thing it is. But I just think it would be really funny because, yeah, like Dean Ambrose is probably the wrong guy because Moxley is such a stand-up dude, and like, why would you want to do it to one of your most important wrestlers in your history? However, it's so funny, like that.
No, that's real good.
Yeah.
What I wanted, just for the same, like my concept is not reality, but I think it'd be super fun if it was Chad Gable.
Yes.
Or El Grande Americano, if you want to do a double mask.
If anyone here does not watch wrestling, Google El Grande Americano and be prepared for one of the greatest gimmicks in wrestling that should be incredibly offensive and somehow is incredibly entertaining and self-aware when you're German, you're sorry, Austrian? Is he Austrian?
He's Austrian,
Austrian superstar pretending to be an American, pretending to be a Spaniard, works so well that they cheer him in Mexico when he sings in perfect Spanish. It shouldn't work. But that is why he is a lucha legend.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Speaking of legends.
Yes.
Patrick, how was this year in comics for you, buddy?
So this is it's a very interesting answer that I have. And
the judge of that.
I'm going to say that, you and the entire listening audience. They're like, it's not interesting yet. When are you guys going to be interesting? Why are we still listening to this podcast 780 episodes in? Be interesting. I think creatively it's the best year comics has ever had. I look at all of these year-end lists of people listing their best books, and my mind is blown because I don't know what half of them are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a problem I have with David Harper every year. His best stuff list is things I don't even know exist. And I'm like, how is he better?
Harper's superpower is somehow reading all these comics. I don't know where he has the time to do both long-form interviews, a podcast, and read all these books.
And watch every basketball game that is played.
That's true, yeah, and keep all track. Yeah. It's.
I don't know how he finds these books, and he does a lot of the books he reads are like not a lot, but he reads a lot of books from Shortboxed, which is and now they're digital only. And that is never a thing that would come anywhere near my frame of reference because I can't sell it. So I'm not looking for it. It's not that they're great books or they're not great books. It's that I wouldn't find out because I'm looking at things that I could turn around and sell in the store and give to more people.
So, Patrick,
but even looking...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, even looking at his physical pile of books that he's reading just like to finish the end of the year, I'm like, there's 6 of these books I don't know. And 2 of them I only know because he's talked about them before.
So you're saying most creatively, like you're putting at the top of the list, it's the John Cena, the GOAT. It's wearing the jorts. So let's say you're asking Santa for your one, you wanted to come through with one gift for comics and direct market comics in 2026. What are you hoping he has under the tree? Is it more blind bags?
No. This is too generic of an answer, but more of the same.
Okay.
I want 2026 to be just as good as 2025. I don't even need it to be better. I want it to be just as good. I don't think that's asking too much.
Do you? I listen religiously. I'm a supporter on Patreon, as everyone should be, because you're getting this for free. Support on Patreon.
Not only are you a Patreon supporter, but you are one of the voices that leads us into every episode.
Yeah, I'm ARUNE Singh. I can't lose the name now. That's why I logged into this call's main event. So
it is true. It does. It cuts it off, and because I don't know if it says main event ARUNE, but it just main event.
It says main event.
Yeah, it says main event on my dashboard here.
Yeah. So, like for you, I know I listened to reviews. I was listening to the last episode, and you were talking about what a sales juggernaut Absolute Batman is. And look, I had my neighbor who literally lives across from me was asking me, I've never read DC. Where should I start? I said, it's Absolute Batman for sure.
Yeah.
But the answer is, in some level, Scott Snyder and Batman. It's just like which point it is. Is it Court of Owls? Is it Metal? What is it? And like the answer is Absolute Batman. And I got to tell you, there are 2 books I think I recommend to everybody, which is Transformers and Absolute Batman. And yes, I'm a shill because I work at this company, and I will always be a shill because think what we do at Skybound is awesome, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But I think there is something, and look, the Daniel Warren Johnson crossover between the two books. If they just pick up the Absolute Batman annual, they'll definitely.
Oh yeah, right. I always forgot that is a link between the two universes.
It was honestly that annual, with all respect to everybody involved, was to me the most Skybound Batman book ever. Because for me, James Herron, who did the second story, I think of Ultra Mega, that crazy kaiju fighting book he did at Skybound. That's just a visual feast. And then I think of Dan, who is just who is truly a living legend. I would call Daniel Warren Johnson the Kenny Omega of modern comics. That's what I call him.
He would take that compliment so highly. Specifically because in that very Batman annual, Batman uses several of Kenny Omega's moves.
Yes, he does. Yeah, I will say, I've Robert Kirkman has talked, how he is not the wrestling fan that
we are. Yeah,
that we are, and he's talked about having to put wrestling moves. And I will tell you, whenever I get a chance to read the scripts for some of those issues, I giggle at the which references he chooses. There was one I don't think I'm allowed to say, but it's not a bad thing. They're Robert scripts, but there was one reference that was super specific for Transformers 25, and I was just laughing. I'm like, oh, you had to go look up this video. This is amazing. I love seeing how these moves get integrated, and that part of Dan's legacy in Transformers, besides 24 perfect issues plus specials, is Optimus Prime is the world's greatest, pro wrestler, the universe's greatest pro wrestler, because he can do all the moves. I desperately want him to RKO Megatron at some point, but I feel like I'm not sure that translates visually. So yeah,
I think you can. I think so long as it's obviously a horizontal panel, or a double page spread, because you got to have both of them fully extended in opposite directions. But it
would also be cool if he did a midair RKO on Starscream as he's transforming, because that would be very much like the Evan Bourne, in the midair kind of RKO. Yeah, that's kind of what he wanted to be. So yeah, that's I would say, but Absolute Batman truly is that, along with Transformers, are the books I think you can always tell anybody check out. And is there do you
think this is working even better, because Dan Mora is doing all of the AEW DC KO covers.
Yep.
And drawing Transformers.
You could have just said Dan Mora is doing every, and it would have been he is doing every. Yeah.
But I mean, specifically, he's working with wrestlers.
Yeah.
In his art. So yeah, it's gonna work. But I'm sorry, I cut off your legitimate non-wrestling question.
No. I was gonna say, when I think about Batman, I you and I are old heads who think about when Batman was the barometer of success on the Diamond sales chart, right? It was the 100, and everything else was relative to that.
Yep.
Is there
for what we're talking about? People who may not know, is they use Batman as a comparison mechanism to every other comic. So Batman was one issue, one Batman equaled 100. So, and you would say, oh well, so Fantastic Four is 56 to Batman's 100, and then it depends on that's not quality, that's sales. So they would use that as a chart. So how many Batmans does your book sell? Does it sell half a Batman? Does it sell 1.25 Batmans? So yeah, one Batman. Batman was the benchmark for the longest time.
So strictly legacy superheroes, because and again, I have to do it. Invincible is huge. All respect to The Walking Dead, Saga, all these creator-owned books that are industries unto themselves.
Yeah.
Is there any superhero who is as easy, whose books casuals will check out like Batman? Is Spider-Man even anywhere close? Because he's the only other one I can think of maybe in the same ballpark. It just feels like Batman's the one. If you say I got a cool Batman story, I feel like almost anyone is mildly interested in hearing the pitch. If you feel like I have a cool Spider-Man story, it feels like there's a chance someone's like, I'm good. Am I wrong?
So I think that you're right that Spider-Man is the closest, but it's not close.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they try with so many different iterations of, they try to have the Spider family as important as the Batman family. And the Superman family fits in this category as well, with all the different iterations. And there's I think arguably more Spider characters than any other superhero that exists with all the Spider-Verse characters. But they just don't translate into all the different miniseries and sales successes that a Batman does.
Yeah.
There was a point just not that long ago where 56% of DC's output was Batman related.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case as much anymore, but there's still people are more inclined to pick up a unknown creator Batman miniseries than they are to jump on even say like a relaunched Superman #1.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's an impressive thing. I just think about it. It's like somehow, and I want to say like with respect to every amazing talent, like I love Matt Fraction's new Batman. I just probably the platonic ideal of what I want from like my core Batman book. I love it. It is, Matt's. I also think Matt's an incredible human being. I think you know him as well. Like just one of the good ones. But
plus, he's a huge Kiss fan, and I'm currently wearing a Kiss T-shirt. So, it all comes out in the wash.
I'm currently wearing a Marvel Capcom T-shirt, so I think we're both on brand for ourselves today.
We really are.
Yeah.
Man.
So,
and I was playing with the Captain America Marvel Capcom figure. If you were listening to Kiss right now, this would just be so synergistic and meta that my head would explode.
It would also be rude because I'm trying to talk to you. I shouldn't be listening.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But I just think about Batman, and it's like this is what I have to shout out. Like I think Scott Snyder. You think about the last 20 years of Batman, like other than Hush and what Jeff and Jim did there, like I wonder if there's anybody else like Scott who is clearly this point of when Scott touches Batman, something special happens every time, right?
Yeah.
It just feels like, and it feels like, I'll also just say this, I'm not sure if there's another character and creator who are as bonded in that in the modern era, other than you could argue Bendis and Spider-Man for what Ultimate Spider-Man was, and I would never take that away because that was special. But I think the leaving and coming back part puts Scott in like his own category.
With as many different stories and miniseries and things that Scott Snyder had done, even like notwithstanding continuity when he was doing that, I can't remember the Joker's head in a lantern Batman miniseries, which wasn't part of the new 52 or anything. But he'd done so many Batman series and stories that when they announced Absolute Batman, I honest to God said, what else can Scott Snyder say about Batman? Like I honestly thought, like, shouldn't he be creatively bored of this? No, thank God, no.
No,
thank Kirby, no.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely unlike anything else I've ever read about Batman, and I wonder if Absolute Batman is already. I would argue I might already be, but if this is like the closest we're going to get to the impact of like the Dark Knight Returns and Batman Year One kind of 1-2 punch,
Yeah.
Because I think Scott has to be in that, and his artistic partners. I don't want to ever take away from the amazing folks, Greg Capullo, everybody he's worked with on previous series, and I'm blanking Nick Dragata on this, like inkers, colorists, letterers. I apologize, I'm not listing everyone, but it makes me want like. To me, he's up there in the Frank Miller stratosphere, right? Like Frank Davis Mazzucchelli, like it just feels like he's in that same sphere now. And like, I remember Scott, and I say this, I met Scott the first time when I was at Marvel. For those who don't know, when I was heading up publicity there for about 9 years. I remember when Scott was the writer of Iron Man Noir, wow. I was like, oh yeah, this is a good book. This guy seems cool. And then he became, Scott Snyder in capital letters. And it's also
remember we just had, speaking of Image Comics creators, we had James Tynion in for the Corpse Tour back in last month, and the history of Scott Snyder and James Tynion is so enmeshed because Scott Snyder was teaching comic book writing at the college that James was going to before Scott Snyder was actively writing comics. And then look how it worked out. Like he then transitioned to American Vampire. And even like one of the great stories about American Vampire is that when they sent it to Stephen King to get a pull quote from it, Stephen King said, "This is such an amazing universe. I would like to write part of it, please."
Mm-hmm.
And who gets that out of the bat for their first big creator-owned book?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I think James Tynion, I'd love to see I know he's busy doing a lot of great stuff like the Universal Monsters, The Invisible Man, available now from Image and Skybound at your local
That's right.
shop. Really great book. Actually, honestly, if you like his Batman, you will love Invisible Man. It is a sick and twisted and just pure James Tynion horror book. I love James when he gets into the psychological part of horror. Like he can do it all with horror, but when he gets
not to segue too much, but one of the things I love about the whole Universal Monsters line from Skybound is that each property in its own 4-issue miniseries is a different concept. Like when James and Martin Simons did Dracula, it was just their reinterpretation of the Dracula film. But then when we got Creature of the Black Lagoon, it was a direct sequel. And then when we get Frankenstein, it's a history of the body parts as the main story is working out. So I like that each one is a different concept. And I don't know what I can or can't say from properties that haven't been announced yet.
He announced Phantom of the Opera. So
I've read the first issue again. Martin Simons on art on that, and Tyler Boss doing the writing on that. And Courtney, his partner, was one of the keynote speakers along with Al and I at the New York Comic Con. And I got to actually meet Tyler and chat with him for the first time. But yeah, that again, Martin Simons back on art on that. And that is, so from the first issue, am I mistaken? Is that just like a retelling of the Phantom movie? And I'm not real well versed with all of the Universal Monster movies.
I would say it is, and shout out to editorial director Alex Antone, codename Coach. He's the one who spearheads this line and is like, I think the diversity of voices and perspectives is all a reflection of his editorial sensibilities. So I want to just give Alex a shout out there, along with Diegs, and she's also working on these books now too. So this is more of a like serial killer crime take on the Phantom with nods to the original film. And there's a really fun twist at the end of it that we hint at in the first solicit. I think that is going to, based on the internal reaction to it, everyone's going to have some thoughts on it. And it's really cool. And it's very much respectful to the history of Phantom. And I think for the long-term fans, you'll understand how it relates to that history. But this is more of a serial killer crime horror story. And that's really, that's part of the difference. Like, it's much like Frankenstein was both prequel and what do you call it? Throughquel, whatever.
Throughquel. It was a prequel, and while the main movie was happening.
Yeah, this is a retelling, but a reimagining, but it is also very true to the depiction of the characters. I would all call what we do Universal Monsters is like sometimes the lens is just turned from a different angle, or like with the Mummy, you're just getting it from a different character's perspective.
Yeah, and the Mummy was more of a romance.
Yes.
It was more of I called it, and I don't mean this in any way disrespectful when I say it. It's just descriptive, but it was a CW romance version of the Mummy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Faith Erin Hicks crushed it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're huge Faith Erin Hicks fans, and we've been lucky enough to have her sign at the store before.
Yeah, and as someone who's currently rewatching The Vampire Diaries, you hit my sweet spot. So I'm super into that. So like that is, yeah, there is. I think we can say this. There's lots more Universal Monsters coming this year. Once Phantom of the Opera starts in February, you will have new Universal Monsters stories every month. We're not going to have multiple miniseries running at one time, new miniseries running where,
but you'll finish one and go right into the next one.
Yes, you're going to continue. And there's one coming in June that we haven't announced publicly, though we've announced to retailers. And it's just great. And it's very different again. We haven't done anything like it. And again, shout out to Alex and Diegs for the great books they put together. And after we stop recording, maybe you and I will chat about what the book after that is. But it's like there is some really, really great stuff. And yeah, that's a line that for someone like me I'm not really a horror fan. Like I like Ready or Not, but that's not what most people would call like horror. I like Hitchcockian psychological thrillers, but this gives me a different perspective. And like Frankenstein was one of my favorite books from 2024. I just think it's just masterful. And if you like Guillermo del Toro's like Frankenstein on Netflix or in the theaters,
I really
read Michael Walsh's.
I didn't like that movie.
I I will say Anna Escalera, who recently joined the brand team at Skybound, will be having a conversation with you shortly about it, maybe at Comics Pro, because she loved it.
Anna and I go back to her Mad Cave days.
I know you do. So I'm going to let her know to reach out to you and schedule her own call with you to discuss your erroneous point of view.
So not to dwell on that, but my coworker Gina loved it.
Yeah.
And for all of the things I didn't like are the exact things that she liked about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I can see why. I can see how people like it. I just didn't like it.
My honest thing. So Anna and I we made a bet because I am both a fair and equitable boss. I said, she's like, you need to watch Frankenstein. So what I started doing was not watching Frankenstein, only watching other movies that started with the letter F. So I was going through Fast and Furious movies, and I would tell her, hey, I thought about watching Frankenstein, but instead I watched Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. She's like, why are you this way? And so we agreed if she would watch all 8 seasons of the Vampire Diaries, which is one of my favorite shows, then I would watch Frankenstein. So I'm now going through my second time watching it because I feel mildly guilty about how lopsided this negotiation was. And it's a beautiful movie, and I respect the craft, but I feel like I am respecting it and experiencing it from a distance. There are moments I think are beautiful.
Oh, there are scenes that are taken directly from the Bernie Wrightson adaptation. Yes. And those just melted my brain. They're so good, but we don't get a lot of those.
Yeah. I would say I don't think it's a bad movie, Patrick. I didn't enjoy it, if that distinction.
Yeah, look, it just wasn't for me. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna to steal this from. But I first heard this from Aubrey Sitterson. I'm not going to yuck somebody else's yum. If they love it, they love it. That's great.
When I worked for kids back in the day, there were these things called VHS tapes that you just have to rent from stores. But when I worked at a video store,
I worked in high school and in college in video rental stores.
I worked in high school in one, and I learned quickly. They would say, you never say you don't like something to a customer. You just pivot to like, so if they'd be like, hey, what did you think of, this is a real one, what did you think of the latest Scream? I'd be like, everyone I know who saw, I'd actually turn back and I go, did you like I Know What You Did Last Summer? They're like, yeah, but everyone who seemed to like that seemed to like this, so that it probably would be your thing.
That's smart.
Or there was like, the other one was, I remember Ronin and U.S. Marshals were these 2 movies both on video around the same time. So I'd always try to just like, how is Ronin? Do you like U.S. Marshals? You might like this action movie. Very different movies for any cinephile here, but that was what you did back in the day when you were trying to get people to check out movies they might not have heard of.
I very much like Ronin and also saw U.S. Marshals.
There we go. Yeah, we're in a similar era. All the titles I'd bring up, you'd be like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The one movie I tried the hardest to get people to watch, you've probably seen this. Have you seen Very Bad Things, that Cameron Diaz movie?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Sure.
And it was really hard to explain. They're like, what's it about? I'm like, well, these guys are going to get married to Cameron Diaz. They go on a bachelor trip. They accidentally kill
It's a really bad weekend.
Yeah.
But hey, if you saw, oh God, I just lost his name. Oh, I just forgot the actor's name. I was gonna do the Arune. Oh, if you like this, you'll like this. If you like
Jon Favreau, was he in it? Well, hold on, Christian Slater, was he in it?
Oh no, it was Griffin Dunn.
Oh wow!
And I always want to call the movie About Last Night, but that's not About Last Night. That's a whole different movie. About Last Night was the stage play Sexual Perversity in Chicago.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing. It was just one insane. It was Griffin Dunn and Rosanna Arquette. And one weekend just gets completely out of hand. And he winds up like leaving work on Friday. And the movie ends with him stumbling back into work Monday morning, not having been home, like just completely disheveled and covered in everything from the weekend, but just like going back to his life after this insane weekend comes to an end. What was that called? And I was trying to remember Griffin Dunn because he was just in, I'm so bad at this, the most recent Darren Aronofsky movie.
Okay, I can't tell you that.
With the guy who played Elvis.
Oh, Austin Butler. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will just say though, you just presented an object lesson and a pitch. It was funny. I went too far into the details about the plot. You kept it top line. I think that's a really good lesson for folks when you're pitching something. sometimes the details don't.
After Hours. It's called After Hours.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, I know which one you're talking. Yes, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Yes. I've not seen it, but I know what you're talking about. So yeah, look at us. You come here for wrestling recommendations,
80s VHS movie recommendations.
Yeah. Which I guess are cool again. I feel like I know people who in their 20s who collect VHS tapes now, and it's just it's a whole.
So one last thing about After Hours. It was from 1985.
Okay.
It was directed by Martin Scorsese.
Oh wow! How have I not seen that? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this weird, like, misadventurous, wacky weekend. Maybe some crime elements to it, but yeah, it's actually a Scorsese film, and I'd forgotten that. I want to jump back to Universal Monsters for a second, and this is the question Dal always asks. And I don't know how wide the scope of what you're allowed to deal with as far as Universal Monster goes, but will there ever be any Abbott and Costello crossovers?
So here's what I'll say. This is one of the most common questions in our Skybound retail calls.
I believe it.
And what I can say is that is a separate licensing agreement with Abbott and Costello, but we actually, Alex, Blake, Diegs, and I were on a call with Universal a couple weeks ago for a regular check-in, and we actually ironically brought up the Abbott and Costello thing. So this is great because I'm just going to mention this to them next time we have a call. Be like, it came up again. Unprompted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'll tell you, retailers almost every time they suggest one creative team for this book, the Allreds. They always suggest the Allreds.
All right.
So it is. It comes up all the time. Yeah, like it's. I think one of the cool things, I'll say this, and this is going to sound very marketing-y, but it's true, is one of the reasons. I don't even want to call them licensed comics because I feel like that feels sort of category. The reason comics at Skybound work so well, and this is truly something special about this place, and credit to Sean Makowitz and Robert Kirkman for the way they run. They've always made comics, and the kind of comics they like. We only make comics that people are really passionate about, so like the monsters are there because like people are really passionate about the monsters. Sure. And I think if you had creators who were really passionate about Abbott and Costello meeting whoever, and there was a possibility of those rights, that's the only time it would happen. You need to have someone really passionate. Skybound's not a company that wants to do comics that are just
to do it.
Just to do it, right? Like, by the way, this would clearly make money with the amount of people asking. Like, I think for the demographic of comic shop owners, this is a sweet spot for them, and they have customers in that same sweet spot, and a lot of other people would just be interested. I can see the marketing opportunities, the PR headlines, social, all of it. But like that's ultimately empty calories if everyone's not super enthusiastic. And so, yeah, I think you never know what could happen. But more to say to all of this is that this is the 6th time in 3 weeks I've been asked about this. So that's pretty
kind of phenomenal, though.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty great.
It is. The only other question we get all the time, too, which I obviously going to no comment on, is like, when will all the monsters team up? Those are the two most common questions.
Yeah.
It used to be, when will they cross over with the Energon universe? But I think everybody eventually realized those are two separate things.
Yeah, that would, I don't know. I don't know what fandom that works for.
Yeah, different publishers. I think crossovers, again, like different publishers do crossovers differently. And like I was at Boom when we had the first Turtles or Power Rangers Turtles crossover, which I think was phenomenal stuff. Speaking of the Dan Moras of the world and, Ryan Parrott, shout out. Like that's really cool. But I think sometimes just because you can cross over things doesn't mean you should. And to each their own. I mean, I've heard you guys, other retailers, talking about some other recent crossovers, intercompany or not. And like, it's nothing's a sure thing, even with the surest of things in it. Like it's a tough market. And I think we have a responsibility as publishers, and this isn't just about Skybound. I think we have a responsibility to make sure that we are giving you the best, most pure, and I mean that coming off pure passion version of whatever comics we're giving you, especially with these properties that have legacy fan bases. Because I do think if you do it wrong, going back to Absolute Batman or Transformers, if you do it wrong, that there's a certain segment of fans who won't come back until the next thing like that, and they might already feel like a bit burned by it. But if you do it right, you encourage them to try out other things, which is why, like, I think you see Robert Kirkman do this. It's so weird saying his full name. But you see Robert do this, like, champion the comics that are doing well, like Absolute Batman, Ultimate Spider-Man, all the Energon Universe books, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, whatever the book is, I'm just saying things now. Something's Killing the Children. These books doing well bring readers to comic shops. And I think when we have, and you know how highly I think of you and Dal, so you bear with me. When you have amazing retailers like you and Dal, I want to shout out my boys, Andre and John at Heroes World in Ontario, Canada, just outside of Toronto. When you have these amazing stores, Jermaine Exon with Acme Comics, that are
Lord Retail.
Yeah, like that are so good at turning casual fans into recurring fans, right? Like making sure you guys talk about on the podcast always like, you talked about this with Pornsack's book. Why am I blanking on it? It was a horror book that was a breakout of
Infidel.
Infidel. It was always like, you're like, what you want the next Infidel, or you want the book you can give everyone after Infidel.
Yeah.
And to me, you come in for Absolute Batman, and we joked you can go to Transformers, but absolutely, I think it's a straight line, especially now. You really like Beneath the Trees. There's a whole world of horror books you could check out. What was the Kyle Starks one? Where Monsters Lie, that really great dark horse.
Oh, God, it's so good.
You check out that, and maybe now you've got your serial killer fix, and you're like, I just want more of this Kyle Starks horror. You come over to
Those Not Afraid.
Yeah, I Hate This Place, I was going to say. And then discover Six Sidekicks or Assassination through this.
I Hate This Place is such a genre-bending, because it's everything. What is it? Is it horror? Sure. Is it sci-fi? Yeah. Is it crime? Absolutely.
Yeah.
What else is it? Humor? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the power of, this stuff. So like, there's been a public announcement about Stillwater being in development, the Chip Zdarsky, Ramon Perez book. And, I'm really excited. And, when that's a huge success and like people discover Stillwater, yeah, is that good financially for Skybound? Great. Yeah, of course. Is it good for the creators? Yes, even better.
But it's best for the reader.
Yeah, it's best for the reader. That's the power. And again, I'm not here to like, shine up Robert. He doesn't need it from me. But that's the power of why Walking Dead's so important. It got people in the comic shops. That's the power of Saga being in that Taco Bell commercial. Remember a couple of years back? It's like,
yeah.
You get people wondering, what is that? You discover Saga, and then the whole world is open to you because it's one of the greatest comics of all time. And this is that is something I think about this comic industry, is that this is true about wrestling. Let's bring it out full circle. You hear wrestlers say this. The wrestlers are less tribal than the fans. Like Kenny Omega is not praying for the downfall of WWE.
No.
He's working his butt off for the ascension of AEW. And I think for a lot of comics fans, like, no one at Skybound is saying, we don't want Absolute Batman to keep crushing it. We look at Absolute Batman or anything that's doing well saying we want to set a new gold standard. Like, so for example, Battle Beast and what we did with Blind Bags. You want to do that. You want to have that kind of relative success every time. You want to do the best version of the thing you're doing. And success, I will argue, in life, in business, true success, Patrick, never comes at the expense of someone else. It's additive. The greatest successes are additive. And I have never sat, and you're the same way. You're not sitting here listening to the guys at All Star in Melbourne. Awesome store. You never see, if they talk about how well they're doing with the product, you're not sitting there and be like, why wasn't it us? It should have been us. You're thrilled for your friends doing well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think I think a lot of fans will forget that sometimes they pit everything against each other. I'm sorry, this is one of my trademark ARUNE random rants. Anyone who knows me knows I chase the shiny penny in conversation. But I do think it's something worth saying just for fans that like that's why I'm sitting here talking about Absolute Batman. We want everything to do well. Like comics exist comics are better when Batman's doing well, when Spider-Man's doing well, when Image in particular, but indies are doing well because look, I would say Spawn's in one of those other books. You can look at this comic industry, and here's my take. I used to always say with DC's highest successes have almost always come at a time when the Legion of Superheroes was doing well. And that's changed, in the last 20 years because of, I think, just the nature of comics readership and franchise.
Yes, but look at how prevalent the Legion of Superheroes is.
Yes.
What's happening with DC.
Yes, you're right, actually. I take it back.
They don't have their own title. They're going to. They're getting one next year. And you know that your G.I. Joe writer is writing it.
I will say first, shout out, when we talk about Legion, shout out to Brian Bendis. For anybody who read his Legion run, he created a character called Monster Boy, whose real name is Arun Singh, and comes from the planet Toretto because I am obsessed with the Fast and Furious movies. But I ran into Josh. Oh, not ran into. It was his signing here at Collector's Paradise. Ed's awesome store here, and he has many of them here in LA, but this one in NoHo. And Mark Wade was there to show support because Mark's just the epitome of class. And I remember looking at them both, and they were mentioning the Legion. I'm like, as long as one of you two is writing the Legion, I'm going to be very happy.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly, that's the way I feel. Either one of them. I think Josh Williamson, again, one of the real nice guys in comics, like just talented as hell. I'm so excited for his Iron Man at Marvel.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, just he has a way into things that is so pure. I mean, use this word for it, but it's so pure. Josh is one of those guys who just loves comics, right? Like he was made for this. Like he's also a wrestling guy, so I can't figure out what wrestling comparison. Maybe.
Oh, I didn't know he was.
Yeah, he might be the Swerve Strickland of I'd call of comics.
Oh.
Like he is.
It's funny. Josh is also on our Christmas card list.
Josh and I will talk about wrestling too. We've been on some calls talking about. We were on a retail call and we were talking about. It was an Energy on Universe one, talking about Cody Rhodes and The Rock at one point. And Robert's like, guys, I need you to stop. We're not doing this right now. And Dan was on it too. We were just talking about Cody. Yeah, it was actually we were talking about Cody Rhodes and finishing the story. And like when we were talking about the end of Dan's run, and Robert's like, hey, that's enough of that. I gave you guys your time. And he was right. But yeah, those are great guys to talk about wrestling with.
Do you know Albert Ching from DC Comics?
Do I know Albert? We have gone to NXT shows together in the black and gold era. Albert is one of. I honestly, whenever I see the All Elite or the All Elite, it's called All In stuff around the ring in AEW, I've texted Albert. I go, it's like it's the Albert Ching effect, right?
Yeah.
Like this is. I know there's other wrestling fans there, and I don't want to discredit whoever put that together. But there's no way that happens without Albert at DC.
Right?
And
he's such an AEW guy that literally during DC sales calls, because we have the chat open on the side, he and I will be chatting about Kenny Omega while the call is going on. So we're not on the call. We're just in the chat, the public chat where anybody else can join in. No one else usually does.
Oh, you talked about this, I think, also on I guess I won't say where it is, the top secret retailer communications place. And I remember when they talked about the AEW covers, I'd mentioned something and you replied back to it because I think I said this has to be an Albert Ching thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is there's pro wrestling comics, the crossover is nuts, and there's a lot I think both industries can learn from each other.
Well, here's another quick little tie-in for all of this. You're talking about Collector's Paradise.
Yeah.
Ed's stores. So Christopher Daniels was a regular at his Pasadena store for a long time.
Oh, I didn't know that. And Chris is a friend. Yeah. I had no idea. That's really cool.
Not lately, but just for geographical reasons. But that was his store.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that. Chris. Oh, shout out to other comic fan, the king of TNA world champion, Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah.
Another legit dude.
For a while there, before I started using Apple Music, and this I'm just totally name dropping for this story.
Please.
But before I was using Apple Music, when I was acquiring everything that I wanted to hear in digital capacity, so I'd physically have not physical. I mean, I wasn't renting it. I would download files. Yep. Every new band that I got, I would send to Frankie as well because we've got very similar taste in music.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, what another great dude. Just there's those guys, Samoa Joe, noted, a lot of world champions who are comic fans. Cody Rhodes, giant comic nerd.
Joe just walked into the store one day, and it blew my mind. Just by himself, just came into Challengers because he was in town visiting a Chicago wrestling person, but also because Daniels told him to come by. And it was when, I've told the story a million times, but it was when Kaiju Max had just come out from Oni, and it was our pick of the week, and I was raving about it. And he heard me pitching it to somebody else in the store, and he walks up, he's like, hey, can I get that? And how perfect is it that Samoa Joe is getting a Kaiju book? I mean, come on.
That really is. Yeah, I remember both his WWE and AEW songs sound like Godzilla entrance.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so absolutely perfect. I'll say, Samoa Joe, I say not lightly, he is a true national treasure. Just everything you want. Like they say don't meet your heroes, but like he's one of those guys who's become a friend, and like he just is just the highest. him, Chris Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, the highest quality of human beings.
Such good people. Such good people.
Eric Young, another one. That era of TNA, I got to tell you, some amazing human beings. Eric Young is just the classiest of classy people.
I don't know if you've seen the back matter in Wrestle Heist #1.
I haven't.
To bring it back to Wrestle Heist, somebody. So this week's the question for issue 1 is who's your Mount Rushmore, and somebody had Eric Young on theirs.
I think if you came up during his TNA days and you saw the versatility of what he could do and how he got over, he's incredible. I don't begrudge anybody. I know everyone makes Mount Rushmores differently, but I can tell you Hulk Hogan's never going on mine. I don't care what the metrics are.
Yeah, same.
So Eric Young is. You probably give me of the, like these are some of the highest quality people. I mean, you know AJ Lee, CM Punk. Like, there's just some incredible quality people in comics who are wrestling, who are comics fans. Xavier, the whole New Day, Big E, like they're all.
Yeah, Kofi's been on this podcast before.
Yeah. Like these are good guys. They're. It's a great time to be a fan of wrestling and of comics. You're getting
it kind of goes hand in hand because there's always a morality play. There's always a delineation between good versus evil. Yeah, there's colorful costumes. There's athletics.
Yeah, I couldn't love either of them more. It's a good time. What if you have like, let's say we have someone coming here who is a wrestling fan listening to this. And let's say they're a big AEW fan. Is it Wrestle Heist the first book you're recommending to them? Is it?
Yeah. One of my absolute favorite wrestling books, though, it's under the radar. It's Crimson Mask.
Okay,
It is literally a retelling of Macbeth, but in late 70s Southern Territory wrestling.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. It's Alex Cormack does the art.
Okay,
and I can't remember. The writer is British.
Oh, wow.
And it's so really funny that he uses he has this famous British story.
Yeah.
But told through the back roads of America. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to look it up because I cannot remember the writer's name and I'm doing them a disservice, but Crimson Mask was excellent. I'm going to get loud because as I lean over to get to the keyboard.
That's okay. Now you just, in wrestling speak, you've just leaned into the camera and you're really serious.
You know something, Arun? What I've been meaning to tell you. Oh, what is this? This is a whole different. There's a whole other graphic novel called. No, come on. What? Why is one not coming up?
This is where Dad would be like, this is really exciting audio, everybody.
Yeah, that's fair. Most time he'd be going.
Yeah,
he'd be making noises. I have to edit out. Let's try.
Yeah, we're gonna see how we find this. You're right. The Crimson Mask Archives is another thing.
John Lees is the writer, of course.
Okay.
John Lees, a longtime comic veteran.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Double, toil and rumble. Brace yourself for a no-holds-barred reimagining of William Shakespeare's Macbeth from the critically acclaimed creators of Sync, New Orleans, 1984. Chuck Frenzy is the main event star of the local Louisiana pro wrestling territory, but yearns for something greater. A fateful encounter with a trio of terrifying beings in the bayou gives Chuck a glimpse of championship glory beyond his wildest dreams, if he's willing to do something terrible to achieve it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It's really good. It was AWA who put that out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely will say I'm not the most versed in AWA's content, but I'll have to check that out.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's called Crimson Cage. That's why I couldn't find it.
That was where
it's Crimson Cage.
That's cool. That's a maybe even better name. For now, I have an image of Christian telling someone how
right?
their dad's dead.
Such a good. Oh my God, I miss him on TV so much.
Yeah, it's the most offensive, awful thing that he makes so endearing.
So endearing. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Man.
I want to see the face version of telling people he's happy your dad's dead. Like I honestly, you know what though? Can I tell you right now how much I would love to see this version of Christian and Dominic Mysterio, like him being like, "I'll be your dad," and Christian being Dirty Dom's dad and like feuding with someone and Rey Mysterio.
But Dirty Dom's dad is really alive. Or is Eddie really his dad? Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you would just play the game. Like,
yeah.
And Christian could say the only thing I hate more than dead dads is deadbeat dads. And like, I mean, it just would be. This is why, by the way, this is why when you think about how cool it is at Marvel and DC crossover, this is why I want the AEW, WWE crossovers, because we are not going to have a chance for Christian and Dirty Dom in this incarnation for very long.
Yeah.
I want that together. Yeah, that's
Arun, forgive this question. Is your father still with us?
He is. Yeah.
Okay. Mine is not, so Christian could be my dad.
Does Christian do cameos, and would you want him cutting a dead dad promo on you, or is that a place too far?
1,000% yes, but I don't think he does.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of money in that, though. Christian, what's Riso?
Jay Riso,
man. Yeah, my fellow countrymen, I believe in you.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's money on the table.
Yeah, wow. that would be pretty amazing. Yeah, pretty amazing. So, what else should we talk about in the world of comics? Do we want to talk about the Energon universe is the coolest thing ever? Because I'll talk about that forever. I know.
Yeah. I mean, that's a given. Do you? We're here because we're just both comic fans and wrestling fans and friends. But I mean, do you feel we've done enough? We've got enough love to Skybound? Is there anything?
Yeah, all jokes aside, I never need to be a shill for it. Like, I love just talking comics. Like, I will go through with friends and talk about why I believe Gen 13 should come back and could be the biggest thing in the world right now, like for days. Why I think Wildcats is I'll give you a few of my hot takes. One, I think Gen 13 was ahead of its time.
Okay, but if Gen 13 came back now, who'd be doing it?
You know what? I'm not an editor. I don't get to.
That's fair. That's to avoid the question.
Yeah, it is. I don't know, because one of the things that made Gen 13 cool for me, he didn't read it. It was like, to me, was that it was a really horny superhero comic.
Yeah,
and like that can sound for a cishet male like me, it can sound really super reductive. But like, it wasn't that I was looking at to stare at what was beautiful art by J. Scott Campbell. It was like, the characters wanted something other than their jobs. It's part of what I think made X-Men under Claremont so powerful. These characters they had sex, they had feelings, they had like more than just their jobs. They had an inside world. So I think that's something Gen 13 did well. And like the best Wildstorm books, reinvented itself. Like the Adam Warren run near the end of it there was awesome. And like that was a book that constantly reinvented itself over time. The one I think is like I know people will say Authority because of Stormwatch, but I think the Wildstorm book, because I have a huge affection for late 90s, early aughts Wildstorm.
Okay.
And shout out to Ben Abernathy, a true, genuine living legend of editing, of comic book editing, who's at Skybound now and on the Energon universe, ironically, as we talk about this. Wildcats was one of those books that like just kept reinventing itself every 20 issues, it felt like.
I got to tell you that one of my all-time favorite books is Wildcats 3.0.
Yes. Ben, and that's Ben and I have talked this many times because, he was, I want to say he was an editor maybe in the latter half of that, or I forget if he started as the editor on it, but Ben was like, we were talking about that, and like Joe Casey and Dustin Wynn, like Dustin what they did there.
Oh, man.
And I want to just say, for everybody who goes to check it out, there are uncomfortable parts, like the Agent Orange subplot, like, and if for some of folks that the questions of agency and other aspects are too much for you, like 100% understand it. I would say objectively, though, as a superhero book, when you understand what they took that from and followed like the Alan Moores of the world, remember?
Yeah.
Like you did something that was bolder than even the Alan Moore reimagining. I don't think it's ever been replicated. I think Wildcats 3.0 is one of those books that I've never seen on a major scale that.
I think Matt Fraction touched on it a little bit in his Iron Man run.
Yes.
But only the broadest similarities in concept, not in execution.
And I was there at Marvel for that, so full bias. Matt did a great job. I'd make the argument that Tony Stark doing crazy inventor stuff felt baked into it. Like what Wildcats, it's Spartan running his own, company and like create, for those who haven't read it, like creates this renewable power source. Actually, I will tell you what I think the spiritual successor to that is, and this may be heresy. I think House of X and Powers of 10 is the spiritual successor to it in terms of like craziness, because you think about the drugs, is that the right word? The pharmaceuticals that were being made on Krakoa,
Yeah.
and like how they changed the very concept of X-Men. That's to me the spirit of Wildcats 3.0. Like, and shout out to Joe Casey, another really solid dude. And for everybody who doesn't realize how successful Joe Casey and the Man of Action guys are, like creating
outside of comics.
Yeah, creating Ben 10. I know this is a weird creator, right? Creating Big Hero 6. I understand it's adapted from, or I mean, it's a Marvel comic first, but they're the creators of the film version of it. Like those guys, Joe Casey, Joe Kelly, Steve Siegel, Duncan Rouleau, were all very successful, and all the Superman guys with Jeff Loeb at one point. And then seeing like how they've built these empires outside of comics, again, it's a lot of impressive people in this industry. That's all to say. Wildcats 3.0, yeah, that's like, I'm glad you said that. That's an incredibly special comic, man. Wildstorm at that time was just doing some crazy stuff. It's just, what a good time.
Agreed. And we're fortunate that DC has done multiple different printings and formats of that book over the years.
Yep. And I will say, if you've never checked out, I know Absolute branding can be confusing. Is it going to be Absolute Batman one day? Absolute.
Man, you know what? I hate that Marvel says Ultimate Collections and then their Ultimate line.
Yep.
And then Ultimate Collections. Why not?
It is.
I was just going to say, going back to what you said before about not being an editor, and I think that's why, like, I shouldn't be an editor, because the Absolute line, all of the artists are non-traditional choices that don't have, like, you know, the huge A-list followings, but each of them absolutely, pun intended, killed their respective books.
Yep.
Hayden Sherman over on Absolute Wonder Woman. Oh my God.
What a book.
Yeah. I think Absolute Wonder Woman was my favorite comic out right now, much less superhero, much less Absolute. But yeah, everybody for the first wave, you know, obviously Nick Dragotta. You can't even, I mean, Absolute Martian Manhunter's on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who works with making the pages see-through when you hold them up to light, so the back page reveals something on the front page. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I will say, I'm not sure how much Allison Gill was involved with that, given, you know, she's a legend and figured out things no one ever figured out before. But the folks on the manufacturing production side at DC, and I'm embarrassed to say I don't actually know the names to credit, but like they have created some really, really cool stuff over the years. And I would argue that DC has always felt, not I want to say ahead, but they've always had their own take on like gimmicks. But back from decades ago with the death polybag for Superman to like other gimmicks, you know, Marvel had their own stuff with holograms, and I guess DC did too.
Yeah, but Marvel did everything, and it didn't feel like it was.
Yeah, DC just makes it
like,
special.
Oh,
like,
Silver Sable is a chromium cover. Okay, why?
Yeah, look, I love the Fatal Attractions hologram covers, but you know what I think is better is Robin 2 Joker's Wild, where the Joker card is a hologram.
Yeah.
On all the covers. You're just fits. Like, yeah, it's so perfect. There's an intention to it. And that DC's always been, I think, really, really historically good at. And you're right, Absolute Martian Manhunter is another good example of that. That's the thing about comics. And you two talk about this, you and Dal talk about this a lot too. But I'm being on the publisher side of it. It's hard not to be inspired by what you see your peers doing, right? They just
sure.
And I'm proud to say, and this is not meant to be a Skybound show, but like I think what we accomplished with Battle Beast blind bags inspired a lot of other approaches to this. And you know, everyone's got their different opinions on those, on blind bags in general. But like, you know, 10 years ago there was a different approach to blind bags. 10 years before that there was a different one. But I love how this industry finds ways to refresh old ideas, not just IP, which sounds gross to say that way. Say characters and stories, but even the marketing gimmicks, right? Like there's a lot of cool marketing and packaging and sales stuff that like as fans we consume that you don't realize, like you just want backing in. Like I want to know what a cool hologram cover looks like these days. And
the technology is so far advanced from what it was.
Yeah, and I want to shout out an Image, Heather Dornkirk, I hope I'm saying her name right, Ian Baldessari, and again, I hope I'm saying both their names right, who we work with on the Skybound side, who like source out, like we can only do those poly bags and blind bags because they help source this stuff. Like just two incredible people, and some of the crazy ideas we've thrown at them that some of they've made happen, some we're still hoping to make happen. all these production people, for anybody who doesn't know, if you ever meet someone in production in comics, design as well, but specifically production, like buy them a round or 10 because the amount of logistics involved in getting a comic made is difficult enough before you add these gimmicks, or if you want to call them premium experiences. I'm sure that's what TKO would call them. But it's, yeah, PREs, premium reading experience. And that is like everybody in production in comics, just what they do again is next level. I think Megan Christopher is over at Oni now. Like all these people, what they do is just, I don't know. Comics is the coolest thing, Patrick. Like as much as we keep talking about it. Like, cool. There's nothing like comics. Like
comics are the best form of media.
Yes.
Because they have an unlimited budget. Like, look, we both read books. We both watch movies. Comics are better than all of them. And those things are great.
Yeah.
I go to the movies all the time. I have a stack of, I call them comics without pictures to read that is taller than I am because I just keep buying books all the time. But man, I'll keep coming back to comics. My brother George, who got me into comics, he is 63 now. And he had said recently that, because I buy my books, I read them, I give them to him, then he gives them back to me and I file them. He was looking at, we both have spinner racks, and like his spinner, like all of his unread books are on a spinner rack. And he looked at the comics he's reading lately, and both our tastes have diverged over the years and changed. We don't love the same things, but he said, he's like, I always wondered if there'd ever be a point in my life where I'd ever just say, no, I'm done with comics. He's like, I'm 63 now. Do I want to still keep reading comics? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I realize now I'm never going to get rid of comics.
You may have gone through something similar. Like I remember when we were younger, there was definitely you grow out of comics kind of idea. And I know Sandman and Vertigo and we talked about Frank Miller helped change that and gave like a non-superhero way to keep continuing. But I remember proudly when I was like 13 or 14 being like, I'm only going to read comics for a few more years. And then I think I'll be more mature and grown up. And every amazing thing in my life is tied back like maybe 2 degrees max to my love of comics. The friends I've made, the family I've made. I want to give a shout out real quick if I can to my two of my favorite people in the world. One is the best little sister in the world anyone could ask for, Bree Sarpy. She's heading up marketing over at Ignition Press with Philip Sablik and the crew there. She's just incredible. And then my ride or die, she's a regular on this podcast, Morgan Parrish.
Yeah.
Just like two of the anyone who knows me knows it's been a very long 2 years of my life. And like these two, I would not have got through this without these two people. And the only way the three of us would have been connected, 3 very different people or very different lives, we ever would have met each other is through comics. And like, I couldn't, these people are my family. But every opportunity in life, you and I sitting here talking to each other, like, I don't know, Patrick, like for you, it's, my neighbor randomly Googled that fact about Monster Boy, right, the other day. And he texted me, he's like, oh my God, you're a comics character. I'm like, yeah, I'm also a G.I. Joe character. Thanks to Fred Van Lente. And it's cool. He's like, you don't understand how cool that is for like normies like me. And I'm like, no, I absolutely do. Because Patrick, genuinely, it is like, it's super effing cool to talk to you. Like I was joking before we started this that like my podcast is talking back to me. My favorite podcast every Sunday night is talking back to me. This is so cool. And
it's hard for me to wrap my head around that sometimes because, everything we do, we're doing it in the store, but it's still like this thing is in a vacuum. We do it just amongst ourselves and there's virtually zero feedback. There's a handful of people that usually will reply or respond every once in a while. Then we have like 1 or 2 dedicated people that mention something about the podcast every week. But for the most part, even when we genuinely ask questions like, hey, what do you guys think of us doing this? Crickets.
Yeah.
So like to be on the floor of New York Comic Con and have strangers recognize us because of Challengers and say, I listened to your podcast. And all we can think of is, how did you even find us?
Yeah, I would say though,
Taylor makes an appearance. Taylor did.
Yep. If you don't know my dog Taylor, it means you don't follow me on social because she's who I talk about the most. I will just say that Patrick, it's genuinely what you and Dal is like. You do a service for people, man. Like what you give people anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours a week of like of just like going behind the curtain and like hearing their two friends talk about comics. It's how I feel about my favorite wrestling podcast, right? Like,
Cheers.
well, I have a few of them. I will say
Okay.
the Masked Man show on the Ringer Network is awesome. I got to I don't know. I don't think do I know. I met the Masked Man from there. I met him once, but like really, I love that show. I love the Getting Over Wrestling podcast, which is for a couple of guys who work for CBS, and then Cheap Heat, which is are they with ESPN now? Whoever they're with, but Cheap Heat is great, and like getting to be friends with Stat Guy Greg on that show. We connected over the years, especially when I was at Boom and promoting the WWE comics we did. Just like getting to talk to these people, like it's still really cool because you and Dal are celebrities to the people who listen to you. Like you're my friend, and
Yes, I am.
treasure that more important than anything else. And unlike taking it back to being Chris Jericho, I am not going to be the Canadian who turns on you. But it is you guys are celebrities because we start living life with you a bit, right? We hear about your band, right? Every year we hear about the T-shirt, we hear about the sale, we hear about we hear a new song usually. Like there are these things that.
Oh my God, it's funny you say that because the new song is actually going to be in this podcast. Yes. It's going to be at the end of this podcast.
We didn't even prepare this. This is amazing.
Yeah, it has to because I forgot to put it in last week and to make sure it gets out before Christmas. It has to be on this one. So yes. Oh
yeah, extra special.
First Gun Christmas song, "Unwrapped You," is going to be at the end of this podcast.
And is it to the chords of Judas at the end? And so like that is like that's what you guys are. Like I'm guaranteeing. I told this to my friend Andre Greenidge. He's co-owner along with John Ho of Heroes World. It's a great store in Canada. It's where the actor who plays Miss Marvel is where she got into comics. So
okay. I've seen photos of her at the store all the time.
Yep. And Andre is amazing. And I would
all I think of every time you say their name is like. They're not related to the distribution arm of Marvel back in the 90s.
Yeah, I know. But so Heroes World is with that store. I've told Andre this. He used to work at a store before that called All Star Cards and Comics, and it's
not in Melbourne, Australia.
No, near the high school that Hayden Christensen went to for a minute. So when I used to go to that store, there were days in my teens when I was having a really hard time. My parents would be like, "Hey, do you want to go to the comic store?" I'm like, "Yeah." And Andre was always cool with me just staying there for a couple hours. Like I wouldn't wreck any comics by flipping through them. We'd play a bit of Overpower. We'd just talk. And like, I always tell him, like, "Andre, you saved my life." Like, and we don't have to go further than that. But like, you saved my life. And what you did as a retailer is you made a space that it was safe for me to just exist. And like,
that's great.
That could be a difficult thing. And I think like, again, have not been to your store, but knowing enough about it, you create a space that's safe for people. And with this podcast, you create another space that's safe because, like I said, my podcast is talking back to me right now, Patrick, but I talked to it. Like you guys I texted you a few months ago when you guys were talking about, I paused it and texted you and you were talking about allocations on Magic cards.
Yeah.
And I was texting Morgan and then Sean Kirkham, who everybody may know is Big Clutch. He works with eBay. He's just an amazing dude who used to be at Skybound. And I was saying, like, I want to get so hardcore into Magic again because I played back when first edition stuff came out. And
wow, you and Dal.
Yeah, I was. Oh, yeah, like I was chasing that stuff and like the Vesuvian doppelgangers and like all the the lotuses of all kinds. But I remember Fallen Empires being at the dollar store because no one wanted that set, and so
now anyone would kill for that set.
Yeah, I know it's crazy, dude. I would say that like the thing about comics that's so special, and it's just as a somewhat more moderate sneakerhead these days is FOC. Thank you, Brian Hibbs, is one of the best things about comics.
Yes,
because
hands down,
you can, other than surprise variants or like the thank you variants, like companies will send out, you get what you want. You pay the premium, but you get it before you pay the secondary market premium. And honestly, comics retailers are by and large pretty fair about it. I've found very few retailers who I know, who I speak to, who ever gouge you on stuff, right? Like they have a fair, consistent pricing system. You can look at comics and you'd be like, why don't, for the next print run of Absolute Batman or Transformers #1, right? Both books, like Transformers #1 is going to be up on his 20th printing sooner than later. And you might look at that stuff and say, why don't we just double the print run? We know people want it. There's economics to it. So I'm sure there's a very good reason why Wizards of the Coast prints what they print. But that can be true. And as a fan, it's incredibly hard to get these cards. It's incredibly hard to just get play packs. Collector's packs, I can make my peace with that. But when the play packs are hard to get, I don't know the logistics of that industry, but like I texted you right after that because I had a strong opinion as you guys talked about it.
Yeah.
And it's tough because you know the people of these companies are fans too. You talk to anybody at Wizards of the Coast. They want everybody playing Magic. They want everyone playing. They love this stuff. You know, they love it more than anyone because they've devoted their lives to it. And it's impossible to get those production quantities right. And I wish FOC could exist for sneakers, for trading cards, because you guys would order like 8 cases of collector's boxes. You'd have someone like me who doesn't even live in Chicago being like, send me one. I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Just send me one. And
we literally got, I think it was, I don't know, the last 2 days, our latest Pokemon allocation.
Oh boy.
For the next 2.5 wave of what's coming out.
Yeah.
And for everything that was available to order, whether it be booster bundles, booster blisters, ETBs, poster sets, tin sets, all of these possible things, we are getting one elite trainer.
Oh.
That's it. That's all we're getting out of everything we ordered.
That's tough.
And this wave didn't have booster boxes. It had, blister pack boosters. Or booster bundles where you're getting like, a couple hundred boosters. And we're like, all right, we'll do the equivalent on all those. We're getting one elite trainer. That is, if you go to the front page of the Challengers website, and Dal is very good at updating. There's always a quote on the front page. The current one is, super glad that 2025's Pokemon allocations have degraded to just getting an email from your distributor that said that of that Wonka meme, you get nothing, you lose. Good day, sir.
Yeah, and the one part of this podcast I might get in trouble for is saying that is talking about this, but it's like it is. I will just say that like I recognize how incredibly difficult it is to manage this stuff. I'll say it's the same way with comic shops. You might be like, you talked about Absolute Batman? You talked about after it came out, you're like, how do you ever order enough of Absolute Batman? There is no such thing as enough. You're just saying instead of being sold out at 48 hours, I'll be sold in 72 hours. Why? Because everyone will know I have it. You could have ordered 1,000 copies of that issue #1, and I'm willing to say, and you would have sold out of it still too pretty quickly.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and so you're like, so there's no number that's enough. So how much does DC overprint? There's no number that's enough. And then
you can't blame them because they're overprinting based off of what we ordered.
Yeah, it's incredibly difficult. I'll tell you that Sean, who I mentioned, Sean Makowitz and Robert are two of the best prognosticators at this when we were trying to figure out the Battle Beast blind bags. And again, this isn't to shout out Sky Mountain, it's just more to say I can't talk with the number. The number they went with was high. And we were all like, okay. And when we got to the final number of the blind bags, thank God they dreamed big because we were so close to that, to that number. But it's
we could have ordered 5 times what we ordered. We talked about it when it came out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am going to offer an editor's note to something that Dal said.
Okay.
Dal, El Sucio, Dal Bush, and I got beef. He had said that we never mentioned what was in the blind bags and solicits. We actually had a whole paragraph about it, Dal.
You did, yeah.
No, but what that speaks to, what I took from that was, again, you're information overloaded. It's not enough to say it once. We got to say it 20 times because you are just trying to get through the day.
And
you're trying
that's
to get emails.
That's the same with us and our customers. We can't, it's repetition is how people learn things. Like you can't, you never know at what point someone's going to hear it. And for everyone that says, we get the email debate all the time about sending too many emails, but inevitably only one of those emails that has the same information is going to land with somebody. And that's the most important one. but it's different every time. So there's no rule. I mean, you have to be annoying to be heard.
I try to order. I try to like alternate ordering around favorite retailers around the country for different things. And so I'd ordered some variants from a company, obviously not Image, at least you could say, from Jermaine at Acme Comics in North Carolina. And I remember saying, I was like, hey, dude, I want all these covers. He's like, I never heard of this before. I'm like, I hadn't either, but apparently this was announced by this company a while back because it's on FOC. And I was like, yeah, I said, like, I'm glad they put a post on social about it because now I know it's there. And that company had done their job. I just didn't see it because we're all buried in information. The amount of
and it's not that you didn't just see it. Jermaine didn't see it either.
Yeah. And Jermaine's one of the most clued in retailers there is. This guy lives and breathes it. He's a great dude. Yeah. So no, it's a tough time. This is all going back to say you guys are celebrities. Like what you say impacts people, right? It spurs, no pun intended, conversation. But like we are all like the weeks we don't get the podcast. I get it, but I'm also like, man, it feels. So I start off Monday, the work week, by listening to your podcast when I work out. That's what I do. It's like. And it's just like I'm hanging out with my two friends when I work out. I love it. And I've never met, I've never spoken in any way.
Fair.
Yeah, but it's still it's my two buddies, right? Like, because I have no doubt he and I could get along talking about Kamen Rider and Power Rangers and Transformers forever.
Sure.
And that is like, maybe that's even borderline parasocial, but it's like, it is.
Yeah, but isn't every podcast parasocial?
I guess,
except the ones that are like, telling you a story or whatever.
That's true. But even then, I think the ones telling you the story, you develop a relationship with maybe the author or the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all to say. Patrick and I are excited to be your new best friends. Who needs Dal? They've got me now. Bye, Dal.
Hey,
main event. Arun Singh is here.
Dal would be the first person to give you his job.
He would be.
Yeah.
Can I be the fake Dal Bush? Could that just be my name, fake Dal Bush?
Yeah, sure. Do you have a red suit?
I will. I mean, I'll live the gimmick. You don't test me. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to transfer into two minor pet peeves of mine as a retailer.
Please, I'd love to hear this.
One is putting. Look, I don't know if you know this. I used to ink in the comics industry 25 years ago, early 2000s. Putting an inker's name in the title of a book is unnecessary. Or the colorist's name.
What do you mean by title? And you mean like the credits above the title, or do you mean something else?
I mean like literally on the invoice in the like Walking Dead Deluxe number 109, cover A, David Finch and.
Oh yeah. I can't vibe with you on that, but okay. Why though? Tell me. I'm so curious about this. Why?
Oh, because it's too long. Because all the information we have to give out to our customers. More than half of them just read this information on their phone. And the longer a title line is, it breaks it up and it gets harder to read, and then it runs together, and then people don't see like the natural break in a line of a list of books.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
That's especially like we're taking everyone down with us. Cover A, Stefano, I can't remember his last name. But anyway, like the every creative aspect of a comic, every writer, penciler, inker, colorist, letterer, editor, everybody deserves to get the credit, but their name doesn't need to be in the title line of the data file.
Okay, I definitely have a different perspective. However, that's really interesting to hear, and that's a really good note. There was another publisher you had talked about, and I'm not going to name them, but like how I think it was PRH does their naming conventions and how they varied.
Yes.
And yes. And like, so I actually took that one to heart, and I was like, oh boy, consistent naming conventions. And
Lunar does everything the same way. So Lunar treats Image books the same way they treat DC books. It's CVR a person's name. I will edit the first name out to save space, but I don't have a problem with the first name being there. I leave it if it's like Jim Lee or Jay Lee when there could be a problem. And
that reminds me, I was going to interrupt you. That reminds me when I think Stuart Moore took over X-Force at some point in the 90s. And I was like, oh my God, Alan Moore is on X-Force? I just saw Moore. So like, and I think Stuart's a great guy, just not Alan. Okay, so tell me this. So let's say the cover is blah, blah, blah by, I'm going to make Ryan Otley and Dave McKay. Like, just pick two names.
Yeah.
What should that metadata in your mind then look like, just for pointing?
Oh, just Ryan Otley. Like in an ideal world, it would just say Otley, but I understand. Like it could just say cover A Ryan Otley.
Okay.
I don't think that the people who are seeing that data file need to know who the colorist is to deal with this. And I will shorten all of everything on our website to make it as easy as possible. And my philosophy is, while ours are not active links, because you can't buy our books online until Thursday, because we always want to prioritize the in-store shopping experience first. So they're not clickable links to get to that page. I feel that if a customer is really interested, they can Google that book and find out who the inker or the colorist is themselves.
So, yeah, that's interesting. What I would say is, for any retailers listening to this, who I'm sure we've chatted at some point, if you agree or whatever your perspective on this, I would love to hear emails. Obviously not Patrick, because I don't value your opinion, but I'd love the pure plurality of feedback, because that is, no one's as metadata conscious as Morgan Perry. Obviously, she's just next level. But that is, and I'm going to pick her brain after this, but that is something I want to think on, but I'd love to hear feedback from some other retailers, just to hear how it impacts them too, because I will be the first to admit there's definitely things we can do better. You said you had 2 complaints, so there's going to be another thing.
Oh, I'm going to follow up on this for a second, because I follow a lot of stores' online newsletters. Yeah. And one of the things that drives me crazy is when, like, I spend too much of my time collating all the data and making it match. Like, I will cut and paste everything into a Word document and then click on it so everything is all caps, because that's how Marvel, DC, Image books are given to us as all caps. So I want everybody else to match that. So I'll change it. It drives me crazy when I look at other stores that just cut and paste their email lists. So this one is all caps. This one is mixed case. This one says cover A. This one says CVR. This one says variant. Yeah. Like, I hate that it's not the same. And even
I hear you on that. Yeah.
Between Dow and I, on the weeks that I don't do it and he does it, he doesn't do that either. Like, his attention to detail is less than mine, but because usually if he's doing it, it's because he's covering for me and then he's got to do my work on top of his. So it's wasting his time. But I just think it's too much. That's one of the things that I was very frustrated with when I found out the full hopeful ramifications of the Comet standard metadata program that Comics Pro is working with all the publishers with. It's not going to change that stuff. And Boom is the biggest violator of it now, because they do their things in a completely different format than everybody else. It makes no sense. It'll just be, let's say, Grimm, number 16, A, main, parentheses, artist name, cover style, whether it's, incentive or a hologram or a cardstock or whatever. It's like, they don't even put cover or variant. They just put A, main, or undressed, or like they use undressed instead of virgin when everybody else uses virgin as the phrasing. Yeah, their format is completely different. The other thing is very minor, but specifically looking at Marvel Team Up 14, the facsimile that's coming out in February, March. Yeah. With the Invincible Spider-Man crossover.
Yeah, in March, yep.
Yeah, and this is, it's other companies do too. DC does it all the time. When you do new covers by today's artists on a facsimile, it's no longer a facsimile.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought this was going to be about something else entirely. Oh, I would have mentioned this to Sean Makowitz, because he is the exact kind of person who would find it interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. You could get around it by calling it something different, but I hate it when, like, DC frequently does, cover A, the original cover by Don Heck and Murphy Anderson. Not the right DC creative teams, but anyway. Sure. Cover B, foil cover, Don Heck and Murphy Anderson. Cover C, Jim Lee. Okay, Jim Lee didn't work on this book. It's no longer a facsimile of that book.
This is the most Patrick Brower thing. I got to tell you, No. You have to tell you, this is going back all the way to what we were talking about. To get called out like this in real time by one of my podcast guys. This is just cool.
You're not getting called out. You didn't. This isn't your thing.
I'm involved with this part of it pretty heavily, so I will say it is. I mean, I'm in the conversations where we talk about this stuff, so I will just say this is, and it's someone representing that company for this specific example. Yeah, Marvel Team Up 14 facsimile edition, whether Patrick likes it or not, coming March 2026. But and
again, like this is a very me thing. I think you'll find other people agree with me on the length of the title and data files. I think that'll be more people that find that inconvenience. But I think this facsimile thing is just a me pet peeve.
I'm sure people will agree on it. I'm actually just curious if their solve for the credits are the same as yours, mostly just to see what the consensus is. But I also would love to hear from retailers on the facsimile thing. This is actually bizarrely going to stick in my head, and I will tell you that it's come up before at Skybound when we reprinted Real American Hero #1 with the dialogue change, to be true to what Larry Hama's original script was. That's why it's called like the Hama cut.
Hama files, and I'm fine with that.
It's not a facsimile. So we were like, you can't call it a facsimile. But we very consciously, along with Robert, chose to call this a facsimile. So that is really interesting. And
Dynamite would do a lot of reprints, but they would have new ads in them.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, that's not a facsimile.
I know what you mean. No, I totally. It's a remastering at some point. It's something else. It's the same way that like Capes, when we're remastering that series now, is not a facsimile. They're
but I mean, you're not trying to pretend that it is.
I know what you mean.
Up front, what that is.
Yeah, no, that's really. Oh, you got me with this one. That's not
but I mean, DC does this way more. They do it all the time.
I'm gonna text Nancy Spears right now and say Patrick's and Meanie.
We've never met, so she'll have no idea who I am.
Fair, okay. That's cool. This is a fun way as we're barreling towards the last time is now for this podcast.
What's the holidays if we don't end on bitter recriminations?
Yeah. You know what? I needed to get a lump of coal. You gave me 2. I just appreciate your generosity.
I would never put coal in your stockings. It may scuff up your new sneakers.
Oh, that's true. You know what? I appreciate it. Thank you. I can't wreck the reuse sneakers. We've come full circle.
I wanted to say I have the same thing. I have an AEW pair of their LGBTQ sneakers.
Yeah.
And then I bought a Brody Lee pair.
Oh, yeah.
And then I bought a pair of Paul Stanley designed Pumas.
Oh, that's really cool.
That I have busted those out for a wedding and whatnot. Oh, and I did, but yeah, I'm very particular about where I'm wearing these, and do I bring a second pair to change into, so nothing happens to them. And I did want to mention, when you're talking about your wrestling podcasts, my buddy Mike and I were in Ireland last November, December for our friend Fallon's wedding, and Mike's a big fan of listening to What Culture wrestling YouTube shows. And he was disappointed because when we were in Ireland, a place neither of us had ever been before, the host from What Culture was going to be at a local indie show in Chicago. And Mike's like, I'm missing a chance to meet this guy. I'm like, you were on a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Ireland. But and of course, like he didn't, it wasn't like, oh, the trip's ruined. But he's just like, oh, I had to sacrifice this thing I would have really wanted to do this other thing I really wanted to do.
Yeah. But that's the thing we talk about, right? It's whether you want to say cult of personality, whether you want to call it parasocial relationships, whatever it is, like we have like the people we listen to like this, we let into our lives on a repeated basis in a way we don't let other strangers into our lives. Like you develop rhythm. Like I'm a big daytime soap guy, right? Like I love General Hospital. And
oh man, I watched General Hospital all growing up, going to college. My mom, all the ABC shows from All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital every weekday.
Me too. So
and it took me way too long to figure out that the storylines were Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah. Every day I'm like, why aren't we picking up on yesterday's cliffhanger?
Yeah,
it took me years to figure that out, Arun. That is embarrassing.
But you could also tell when the schedule got messed up because suddenly Thursday would be super dramatic, which meant or Monday would be super dramatic, which meant the Friday episode got bumped to Monday somehow. You're like, this is way better than a Monday episode. I'll just say rest in peace, Anthony Gary, who passed away today.
Oh. Did he really? Yeah. Luke died today?
Yeah, he did. Or it was announced today.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so rest in peace. You know, if you've if you Google Luke and Laura General Hospital wedding, it's impossible to overstate what a cultural moment that was. Like, you don't have moments like that anymore.
Their relationship started out in such a horrific and problematic way.
Yep.
But had such a happy ending, and I still don't know how. I feel like everybody is like, my sisters all loved Luke. Like, but that thing he did.
Yeah.
He did a really bad thing on daytime TV, no less.
They definitely had him, his kids even deal with it on the show, like the fictional, kids, Luke's kids. And it's been and then eventually they just stopped. You couldn't talk about it all the time because you couldn't. Otherwise, you could never have that character in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I love soaps. And it's like, I've been lucky enough to meet some folks. I was an extra on General Hospital a couple of years ago.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. But it was.
Do you have clips of those?
I have some photos of it. Like, I'm in the back of an airport scene, and.
All right. Send me one of those.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's just really tough to, like, at some level, you see these people out, you're almost like, you think of the character name first, you know?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You get used to them, and you think you almost have a relationship with those characters. And I'm not saying you know the actors, but like, you just see them all the time. So even if you're healthy and have a proper boundaries like I do, if I saw, like, I've run into the guy who plays Sonny at a local sushi place a number of times, and I've met him once on set. But like, the producer of the show's a friend, he introduced us, but like, I wouldn't even know how to go say hi to the guy. I'd make a fool of myself. But I see him, my first thought is that's Sonny Corinthos, not Maurice Bernard. Like, it's just that is the Sonny Corinthos, and it's just it's a crazy, crazy world we live in. But I wanted to say thank you to you. You and Dal make this a better world with this show, and I really appreciate you guys.
That's kind of you to say. Thank you for everything you've been doing, because whether you see it or not, you have a direct impact on our bottom line and our way of life. You know, the books you work on are the books we sell. The better those books are, the better chance we can sell them. The more we can sell, the more people we make happy, and the more money they spend at Challengers. So this is a symbiotic relationship. This is just not a one-way thing.
No, absolutely. Look, and I think one of the best parts of comics, like I said, is the people you meet, and you are one of the best of them, Patrick. And that has to be my last words on the episode.
That is the perfect place to end. They are not your exact last words, because my last words are, thanks for listening.
Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. And help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.